No time for a project today, but I did want to cover a subject that I mentioned previously, and that is tariffs. Now, a lot of people ask, what are tariffs and how do they work? How do you spell them? One R, two Fs. Tariffs are a tax imposed on imported goods into a country. Many countries around the world use tariffs as a means for controlling foreign economies, limiting the number of imports brought into their country, getting that a balance in that so-called trade balance of how many imports you're receiving versus exports you're sending out of the country. They also use them as negotiating tactics. It is a tax that ultimately is passed down on the sale of the product. Now, who imposes a tariff? In the United States. Well, the president is able to. As we know, the Constitution says that Congress shall impose taxes on the American citizens. However, the Trade Expansion Act of 1962 gave some leeway to the president for imposing tariffs when it's related to national security. And that's been interpreted to mean, depending on foreign goods, too much, damaging domestic manufacturing. So presidents have used that more and more often as negotiating tactics and controls on trade. So how does a tariff work? Well, let me give you a very basic example. Let's say you manufacture DVD players. Okay, and that's going to be a foreign product. I don't think anybody makes them domestically in the United States anymore. But let's say you manufacture DVD players and you import them into the United States. And the president determines that your DVD players represent a danger to national security for whatever reason. You may say, well, that has nothing to do with national security. Actually, back in the 80s, Toshiba got in trouble because they also had plans for nuclear submarine parts and sold them on the market. And that was a problem. We ended up restricting their trade with the United States for quite some time. So let's say you make your DVD players and you sell 100 of them every year in the United States. And each one of those you sell for $100. Okay? 100 of them, $100 a piece. That brings in $10,000 for you. Now, this is a simple example to show how these work. I'm not going to go into how much it costs to manufacture a DVD player, to ship it over the United States, advertising, all of that, point of sale expenses. This is not about profit and loss details, but in generally speaking, you sell at $100, you sell 100 of them, you get 10K. Now, the United States comes in and says, you know what, we're going to impose a 20% tariff on every DVD player you sell in the United States. Well, the manufacturer is not going to swallow that 20% penalty. Most of them, I wouldn't imagine, could. 20% margin on DVD player would be pretty surprising on just about any product. Maybe the iPhone has more than a 20% margin. But they're going to have to pass that on to the consumer, you and me. So they say, all right, well, 20% penalty, tariff imposed on this. Now, if I charge 120 a piece in the U.S., I don't think I can sell 100 of them. I think I can only sell 50 of them. And if I sell 50 of them at $120 a piece, that's only going to bring in $6,000. That manufacturer may say, you know what, that's not enough. We really need more volume. It's not worth it. We're losing our money on shipping, other things, if we sell that few. So let's absorb 10% of that tariff, and we'll charge $110 for each DVD player. And I think if we do that, we can sell 75 of them. And that will bring us 8250. Right? 8250, that's not 10,000, but it's a lot better than 6,000. So, you know what? They absorb 10%. See? They can absorb it. Now, that still costs them. So, we've got 10 times 75. We've got to take that away. That's 750. So, the DVD manufacturer makes $7,500 on his import. It's not 10,000, it's not 8250, but it's not 6,000. So he falls somewhere in here. And you might say, well, see, he did absorb it. He took away a portion of that tariff. We charged him, said he was going to pay for it. He did, paid for part of it. But no, the consumer paid. And here's how. The consumer's price went from $100 a piece to $110 a piece. Additionally, where we were selling 100 of them, now we're only selling 75. So 25 people do not have a DVD player. They don't have it because they can't afford the $110, or it's just out of their budget, or they just determine it's not worth it at that point. I don't know, DVD players, nobody has one. Fill in any product you want in this. So the consumer has paid by paying a higher price, and fewer people have access to that DVD player. Now, one of the arguments would be, aha, that steps in. That gives the domestic market an opportunity to jump in and take 1/4 of the market right there. We can have a domestic manufacturer of DVD players. Now, here's the problem. We're a developed country. We demand so much pay. We demand benefits, health benefits. We have taxation, Social Security, Medicaid, etc. on our paychecks. It costs a tremendous amount of money to manufacture these things in the United States. So your DVD player that was $100 being imported, you get it from an American manufacturer, this thing may be $350 just to cover all of those expenses associated with manufacturing it domestically. And that is a real issue. This is kind of the reason importers were able to import so many DVD players and take the economy away from us. What's the problem? Do we have too much pay, too many benefits in this country? Maybe it's rampant consumerism. We all need a DVD player, or 3 or 4 TVs in our houses. These were luxuries many years ago, and now we just demand them. Everyone of every income level should have these things. Is that the problem? I don't know. There are various opinions about that. Do we need manufacturing jobs back in this country? Perhaps we do. Perhaps we don't need to be stuck with just service jobs where we're supposedly using our brains only to serve the world. What happens when that doesn't have as much value? What happens when video games don't make that much money? What happens when business realizes, you know what? We're all on the cloud, and cyber criminals can stop our businesses over and over, and it costs so much time and money to rebuild all of this. And we go back to manufacturing centers. What happens when we're not able to produce our food well anymore? Well, I think we probably do need manufacturing jobs in this country. A lot of people are of that belief. Now, do tariffs work? That's a matter of opinion. You ask 10 people and you'll get 10 different opinions on whether tariffs work. But I'll give you a little diagram here to help you kind of figure this out on your own and come up with your own opinion. You don't need to be told whether they work or not. You need to study, learn about them, and decide for yourself how we should approach these problems. Now, let's look at the economy as a bicycle. Okay? Got a bicycle here that's the U.S. economy is represented by this bicycle here. I'm not an artist. I apologize. But our bicycle, our economy bicycle, is running down the road, And one school of thought is the Mises, or the Austrian school of economics. And Mises basically says we should have a free economy, free trade, do whatever you want. Let's not restrict it. Government shouldn't be involved. People produce products, people sell products. This is their livelihood. This is their heart and soul, time, their lives put into these things. They shouldn't have restrictions on trade. As well, the consumer should be able to buy whatever they want from whomever they want. Another school of economics is Milton Friedman, one of the most popular economists of the 20th century. And Friedman's idea, he came from the Chicago School of Economics. Friedman's idea was, you know what, that's good and well, but there are times where the government really needs to be steering this a little bit. Let's keep us on track, maybe even put some brakes down here to kind of slow it down here and there. But we need a little bit of control from the government. And Friedman was not afraid of tariffs. Maybe that's a way to kind of straighten out the way we're going. Now, if you're a Keynesian, and Keynes came from England, much more socialistic, much more centrally controlled economic theory. Keynes was more about, hey, let's put some barriers in. Let's really slow this thing down. Let's let the government have a good bit of power here. Maybe make sure everybody's participating and the ground is level and everybody's got an opportunity. That's going to be your Keynesian approach. And if you think about these from right to left, in our modern parlance in government, we call conservative right, liberal left. Talk about definitions and the way they've changed over the years. But if you look at them right to left, basically Mises is over here on the right, Keynes is here on the left, and Friedman is more in the center. Probably center right, more center. Okay, so we've got no tariffs. We've got, hey, anything you want to do, let's control this economy. And then we've got, well, maybe we need to steer it, put some tariffs in place, and do a little control and checks and balances in the economy. Which one is right? Well, I'm not here to tell you which one is right, or my opinion. You need to come up with that opinion on your own. And whoever you support in politics, be it in Congress, in the Oval Office, you need to keep them on track with what you believe is the right way to handle the economy. As you're doing that, moving forward, remember, the left lane is for passing only. Have a good day.